Hi, my name is Michaela. I just want to thank you for coming in today and obviously getting your assessment, things of that sort. Can you just introduce yourself?
My name is Kenzie. I am 24.
Okay. All right. What is your primary reason for coming in today? I'm just going to jot down some notes as we're going along. It shouldn't take too long. But what's the primary reason for you coming in today?
I just feel really overwhelmed. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm coaching. I'm also trying to balance a social life. I just feel like I have no time for myself.
Okay, so you just feel as if like things are just kind of here, there, it's just all over the place. Like you don't really have time for you and the things that you want to do. Like as far as like a social life, do you have a social life?
I try to.
Okay. Is there any self-care that you actually do yourself?
Sometimes I have time to take a long shower, but other than that, I really don't have a lot of time to do things for me.
Okay, so you said you have 2 jobs and you coach. So do you work both jobs during the week, or do you work just one job on the weekends?
I work both jobs during the week.
Okay, so you have a very, very busy schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, just obviously, this is a scaling question, and I want you to rate yourself from 1 to 10, 1 obviously being the best, and then 10 being the worst. Where would you rate yourself right now?
Probably about a 5 or 6. Life's not terrible, but life's not great.
Okay, so what could you do to maybe possibly get you up 1 point, like up the scale?
I could try to do more things for myself that I enjoy doing.
Okay, what are some things that you enjoy doing?
I like to take long showers. I like to cook. I like to sit on my balcony or go for a walk at the park. Just things for a long time.
Okay, so as far as that, and you doing all of those things, what has worked best for you out of all of those things that you just listed? What do you feel like helps you the best as far as your self-care?
Either sitting on the balcony or walking.
Okay, is that really how you like decompress like your day?
Yes, I like to just sit outside and enjoy the nature, enjoy just the calmness of everything.
Okay, so just being able to have like your alone time without any distractions. Do you usually put like your phone in the house whenever you do this, or do you usually have like your phone beside you?
I have it beside me.
Beside you? Okay, does that ever bother you, like whenever you're obviously like on the balcony, doing your self-care, things of that sort?
No, because my phone goes into my alone time. Like,
okay.
I use that time to sit on my phone, but I enjoy being on my phone, so.
Gotcha. So what have you done so far that's helped you as far as being overwhelmed that maybe hasn't necessarily like worked for you just yet, just so we can possibly come to a solution?
I've tried to do a calendar and write everything down. It's just hard to keep up with because everything is so just on the go.
Okay. Is it hard to keep up with because like you have so much other stuff, like as far as like you being a teacher, things of that sort, like just trying to keep up with your students' work and then also trying to keep up with your own work? And
it's overwhelming with the amount of stuff on the calendar.
Gotcha. And like just remember to go through and like checking everything off. Gotcha. So I am going to ask you a fairly strange question, so just kind of bear with me. Suppose you go to sleep this evening, and while you're asleep, the problem that has brought you here today is resolved. So ultimately, this is like a dream. But you are asleep, you don't know that it has been resolved. What would you notice is different when you woke up?
My attitude.
Okay, your attitude. What are some small signs possibly like for you? Do you feel like whenever you wake up, you feel like you can just like breathe, like, and not feel like you have so much on your shoulders?
Yes, and not being rushed, like being able to take my time and do it on my time instead of having to just always be somewhere.
Gotcha. I do want to ask a question about like maybe like your household chores. You do live alone, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I seen that in your intake assessment. that you do live alone. So obviously you're doing all the chores as far as like cooking for yourself, cleaning up, laundry, things of that sort. When do you do all of those things? Do you just do them like randomly, like throughout the week, whenever you get time?
Randomly throughout the week, whenever I have time to do it.
Gotcha.
Typically, I try to do most of it on the weekends, but I try to have some of a social life on the weekends at the same time.
Yeah.
Whenever it gets done.
Whenever you get to it. Gotcha. Yes. Okay. So, say with this miracle that happened, right? Okay. What would be different from the problem that you have now compared to the problem being resolved? I know we said, like, you wouldn't feel like you have so much on your shoulders, things of that sort. What else would you notice besides just that?
Having more time for myself.
Okay, so you'll be doing that, obviously having more time for yourself, obviously maybe being a little bit more social. Present. Okay. Do you feel like you're very absent from a lot of things that you want to do, such as maybe, I don't know, concerts or birthdays or being able to travel, things of that sort?
Yes.
So whenever it comes to other people, who would you say would notice first based off like this problem being resolved?
Probably.
Or being better?
Probably my students, because I'm with them all day, all day, every day during the school week. I think they would probably be the first ones to notice, or the people that I'm at my school that I'm just, full time at.
Gotcha. So have you noticed that you're a little bit more not necessarily agitated?
I was going to say agitated, yeah.
Like you're agitated with them, like whenever you first come in the morning, because it's like, you don't know here we go. You don't necessarily know like what you're walking into, so maybe like your attitude would have changed, right?
Yes.
Do you think that they would say anything to you?
Yeah, they definitely will comment on your attitude either way. Like, oh, you're in a good mood, or oh, you're tripping today. Something along those lines. So they definitely would notice, and they definitely would take heed to like the environment, in the class environment.
Gotcha. So, question. So before you got a second job, before you started coaching and things of that sort, what were you doing beforehand? Like before you had all this other stuff on your schedule. Can you think of a time where you didn't have all of this stuff, and how was it easier for you? What were you doing differently?
I was doing things that I wanted to do, like going to football games, going to the farmer's market, going to the pool if I wanted to, just like normal average things that I just don't have time for now.
Gotcha. So I hear everything that you're saying, and I'm just going to recap a little bit of what you said, and you correct me if I'm wrong at any point. Mm-hmm. So overall, you're telling me, you're overwhelmed, you have work, you work 2 jobs, actually. 2 jobs, you're also coaching, you just don't have a social life, you don't really have time for yourself, you're coming home and you're trying to decompress, but you also still have housework to do, of course. So you're just overwhelmed. You don't have time for yourself whatsoever. And you said beforehand and before all of this was going on, you're able to go to football games and have a social life, and now it's not like that at all.
Yes.
You also mentioned that like your students would notice that like your attitude would change a lot more if this were to be resolved. You did mention that you had a calendar. Did you have like a paper calendar like on the wall?
It was a paper calendar.
Paper calendar? Okay.
Like an agenda.
Kinda? I gotcha. That you were using, and you said it was just so hard to keep up with because you always had so much stuff to do.
It just was like opening it's just overwhelming.
For you? Okay. So one thing that I will suggest, because we did talk about your housework and things of that sort, and how like whenever you do come home, correct me if I'm wrong, but whenever you do come home, you're still doing work because you do live by yourself, so you do have to clean up after yourself, of course. So could there possibly be a day that you could set some of those things for certain days for you to do whenever you come home, so then maybe 1 or 2 days a week you're able to have more time for a social life, or have more time to decompress whenever you're not working your second job, or whenever the coaching season is over? Because you're a cheerleading coach. How long does that last?
August to February.
Okay, so it lasts a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, would that help you possibly, like maybe you finding a certain day, maybe a certain day to wash dishes and do laundry?
I'm open to it.
You're
I
open
feel like
to
it would
it?
be a weekend thing, but
Just so
I'm
you
open to
have
it.
more of a
Yeah.
social life. We did talk about a calendar, and I know that you mentioned calendar-wise that you try a paper calendar.
Mhm.
Obviously, our phones are one of the main electronics that we have nowadays. Have you thought about possibly putting something on your phone where you can just check it off?
I haven't, but I'm open to do that.
Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm going to give you some homework. We hate homework. I mean, you give your students homework, so now I'm
Yes,
going to give you
girl.
homework. So with your homework, I'm wanting you to download a calendar on your phone with a list of everything, and I want for you to figure out what days you're going to do your housework, so then you can have more of a social life, and let's see how that works, considering you did try to use a paper calendar. And most people don't use paper calendars unless it's on their desk. And I'm sure your desk is probably cluttered with papers, considering you're a teacher. So I am going to give you that homework as far as that. And yeah, do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't. I'm excited to try what you suggested.
Okay. Well, we're going to set you up for another appointment, and I just want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for seeing me.
Thank you.